This is what brought thousands of Belizeans to Punta Gorda town over the Commonwealth Day holiday weekend. The cacao fruit and all its many derivatives was the focus of the annual Toledo Cacao Festival.
So what we're trying to do with Cacao Fest is try to attract a diverse group of people, appealing to people who want to have a just nice evening, a classy evening, people who just want to bring their families and spend the day out in Punta Gorda or going to the Lubanton. So our whole idea is to really try to attract people to the district, to bring people in, because a lot of Belizeans especially have never been to Toledo.
The fairgrounds at the St. Peter Claver Primary School was buzzing with activity on Saturday as artists and producers, farmers and entrepreneurs came out to celebrate. From costals to masks, chocolate cake to cacao beverages, everything was on full display this year.
I got in there because I see the potential as a young entrepreneur that I could do more with coffee and cacao.
Now, as a young man, how did you come to realize that there is something in cacao and coffee?
Because I've seen that a lot of people are producing cacao, and for me, processing is another way of adding more value to cacao.
Mario Chub, a resident of Santa Teresa village, is one of the next generation of cacao producers. Chub says that true to his culture, he plans to go into full-time cacao production when he graduates from the University of Belize later this year.
I have plans to do some production of coffee and cacao in my village, so I see that there is a big potential for that.
What kind of processing do you do?
Well, for right now, I'm still a small scale, using mill and that's about it.
And you produce what? It's just the powder that you produce?
Yes, well, it's only the powder that I'm producing right now, but hopefully in the coming future, I will do other byproducts.
There are at least 5 products that could be manufactured using the cacao beans. This is just one of them. It is wine made from the cacao beans. Those who are in the know say that it contains 7% alcohol. I'll give it a taste now and see what the results are. Doesn't taste like chocolate at all, but it is good. CHOC, who is the proprietor of SHERYLINE's chocolate, says that cacao will continue to be an integral way of life for many inhabitants of the South.
I would simply say that Toledo in a whole is that here is where chocolate was born, and of course it classified that Toledo has been built on chocolate due to the fact that our ancient Mayan ancestors has been farming, sustainable farming alternatives applying, and so doing one of their major crops is cacao. And cacao historically has been known that it has been used as currency, as well as cacao to be consumed in form of beverages rather than food. How it has been used as in form of beverages. The beverage is made with hot spices inside for special rituals only. Today, in my generation, chocolate has been in my generation from my great-great-grandparents as far as I can recall. And today we're able to make chocolate into what? Food rather than just beverage itself.
The use of the cacao beans as currency dates back many centuries. SHERYLINE Jones of the Archaeology Department says the evidence is clear.
Cacao was very important to the Mayas. They use it as currency. We use money today. That was their means of exchange for goods and services.
So then that lends credibility to the reference that chocolate originated here in the Toledo district.
Well, it surely was grown here in the Toledo district. Evidence have shown where we have remains of cacao plantations and seeds in cash vessels that we found.
Today, the role it plays is an integral part of the sustenance for many families in the South. There are many plantations and farms in cultivation today, and the Mayas still make the chocolate drink, a delicacy that was enjoyed from peasants right up to the ancient kings.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it was a rich from everywhere, from the lonely peasants, like you said, all the way to the rulers of the ancient societies, and it is still being used today.
Now, your display that you have here, what are you showing off today?
We're highlighting the archaeological history of Toledo, where we start on the first panel where we describe the Paleo Indians, who were actually the first people to settle Belize around 10,000 to 7,000 BC. And we moved from there, showing that the Paleo Indians are descendants of the CHOC Maya, who actually came across from Guatemala into Toledo district and eventually settled into Toledo district. From there we went, we did a timeline showing the early excavations of Lubantu and Ushvenka that were discovered in 1915, and some of the archaeologists that worked at the sites, and some pictures from Lubantun from 1925. And then we're showing an image of what Lubantun and Nimnipunit look today after the consolidation and work that the Institute manages.
A history of the Maya from the earliest known days until today, a history that continues to be written.
We are the chocolate capital of Belize, and that, you know, we want people to know what we're doing here. We want policymakers to support this industry. It has such great potential, but it needs a huge investment. What has been happening, it has been the NGOs that have been leading this industry. Cacao being the base for it. And you know what? We have still not untapped the possibilities. This is just the very tip of the iceberg. There's vinegar to be made. There's chocolate or cocoa wine, cocoa liqueur, just a whole range of products that we really need to do value added to the cacao beans.
How important is cacao to the Toledo district and indeed to Belize?
Well, to the Toledo district is very important, especially for the communities in the rural area. It's a cash economy. It's a cash produce. Most of them who are participating in it are subsistence farmers. So, you know, it addresses their cash needs.
For organizers of the weekend event, things went just the way they wanted it to go.
Yes, I'm very satisfied. The sun gods were definitely on our side. It has been a beautiful sunny day, and we've had great music all day long. A lot of people are out from very early, and clearly they're having a good time, because they're not leaving. So that's good indications that they're having fun.
And with years of experience under his belt, CHOC says cacao production has been made much easier.
There are certain techniques that can be applied to the cacao tree for you to have that cacao become successful, productive, and so forth. Besides, we have farmers that will just take a bean, stick it into the soil, considering it organic, yes, indeed, but you must actually add certain compost fertilizers to that tree so it becomes healthy and productive in shorter terms. A bean stick into the soil without adding any compost materials will take you 5 to 6 years before it starts producing. Our farm, we're able to cut down that productive stage to a period of 4 years due to the fact that we use all kitchen scraps or crop residues, turn it into compost fertilizers, and making it organic as possible to our farm and into our cacao fields, making it organic to produce within the first 4 years.
For some people, the closest they will come to the cacao fruit is buying a chocolate bar at the shop. And that is why the organizers of the annual event are hoping that the next generation will come to appreciate cacao, a crop that has survived the test of time.
From the fruit, we actually harvest the pods from the tree. We separate the pulp from the bean as much as possible to extract a first line of product, which is cacao wine. From our cacao wine, we then ferment the beans to extract cocoa beans for then later on to roast and grind for chocolate products.
Products that range from butter to pastries to wine, soap, and other skincare products.